We're outside Chicago at this. Texas National Guard troops have arrived here in Illinois. We're outside Chicago at this Army Reserve Training Center, and we are watching them take some of their first steps onto this base, at least until these trucks got in the way here, literally one by one, now blocking our view. We can't really see what's on the other side of this, but when we could see, we observed the T patches on the left arms of these troops, which is significant because it matches the same patches of what Governor Greg Abbott of Texas put out when he tweeted that they were being sent here to Illinois. This is, at the very least, the beginning of a significant step here. This is something that had been threatened for a long time, but now seems to be a reality. The question, though, moving forward is what will the scope of their activities actually be in the Chicago area? We've heard to this point that it's to protect federal personnel and property, but again, there are fears that it could extend beyond that and disrupt parts of the community.
500 National Guard troops are on the ground in the Chicago area, tasked with protecting federal facilities on the order of President Trump. It comes despite fierce opposition from local leaders and residents who took to the streets in protest overnight.
No Trump, no ICE, no troops! No Trump, no ICE, no troops!
I can't believe I have to say troop movements in a city in the United States, but that is what we're talking about.
Illinois' governor, attorney general, and Chicago's mayor have all called Trump's move unconstitutional. Trump taking to social media in response, writing, quote, "Chicago mayor should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Governor Pritzker also." The governor firing back.
He's demented, literally, unhinged. And this is somebody who's so insecure that he lashes out pretending that he can come arrest people for no reason at all.
One judge who will weigh in on the legality of the Chicago deployment later today, telling the administration earlier this week, "If I was the government, I would strongly consider taking a pause on this." Despite the warning, Trump pushed ahead with the deployment and threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act, which was last used during the LA riots in the 90s.
If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that.
For now, the Guardsmen are expected to provide additional security at the Broadview ICE Processing Center, where alleged inhumane conditions have sparked protest. And Trump has also tried to deploy Guardsmen in Portland against Oregon's wishes. Later today, judges there and in Illinois are expected to decide if the troops can stay. This morning, 500 National Guard troops are on the ground in the Chicago area, tasked with protecting federal facilities on the order of President Trump. It comes despite fierce opposition from local leaders and residents who took to the streets in protest overnight.
No!
All right. Shalom, shalom, Akim. First and foremost, want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem HaKadosh. Double honor to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who do well. Shalom to the Akim, the 144,000, the hopeful elect, and to the elect of the nation of Israel. To you all, I say shalom. And real quick, you just saw the video. All right, Texas governor just sent his National Guard's troopsmen over to Illinois. Okay? Now, what the world doesn't seem to understand, some people probably don't understand. Every state is essentially a country of its own, right? And they come together, all right, whenever there's a time of distress or need. Real quick. All right. Well, let me ask AI this, because I asked AI a question. Okay? I asked AI, let me go to my history. I said to AI, if Texas National Guards are being sent by the president and Texas of governor sent to another state without that state's governor's permission, wouldn't that be considered an invasion? And it said that's an excellent and nuanced constitutional question. And you're right to notice the issue touches on the line between federal authority and state sovereignty and the constitutional definition of invasion. Okay, so it goes on to break it down. It says the constitutional framework, all right, of the key constitutional provisions apply here. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against an invasion. No state without the consent of Congress engage in war unless actually invaded or in such imminent danger and as will not admit of delay. Okay, so it says these clauses protect states against foreign or hostile in, uh, incursions, not typically against the actions of federal government or another U.S. state acting under the federal authority. Okay, but that's what's happening, though, right? This is what we're seeing. We're not seeing, Illinois, the state of Illinois and the state of Texas coming together to fight a foreign entity. All right, they're going against each other. When the president federalizes National Guard units, they are no longer under state authority, they become federal troops. When a governor deploys the Guard under state control, is generally limited to within their own state or with the consent of another state. But Texas did not get their consent from Illinois. You see what I'm saying to you? So it says if Texas were to send state controlled, non federalized Texas National Guard troops into, say, New Mexico without New Mexico's consent, that would likely violate both the U.S. Constitution's federal structure and the Posse Comitatus Act if used for law enforcement outside of their jurisdiction. That kind of move could indeed be argued to constitute a de facto invasion under constitutional law, not in the military sense of conquest, but as an unauthorized armed incursion into another state's territory. All right. Now, however, if the troops were federalized by the president, they would be acting as U.S. military forces, not Texas troops. And thus, the legal responsibility and authorization would rest with the federal government, not Texas. Okay. Would it be an invasion? It says if Texas acts alone, yes, arguably, and an illegal incursion or even an invasion under state federal law. If the president authorizes it, no, not legally an invasion because federal authority supersedes state borders under supremacy clause. Now it says if both Texas and the president act jointly without receiving the state's consent, it gets murky. That can raise serious constitutional challenges. Of course, would likely treat it as if a federal military action, not an invasion, in Article 4 sense. Okay, so it's very, very sketchy, but he's doing it, right? It's Edomite. Trump is sending forces from another state into another state without that other state's permission. So you can call it what you want, but that looks like an invasion to me. But that was also prophesied through scriptures. It's the book of Isaiah 19:1. It says the burden of Egypt. And we know Egypt is Greek for or double straits or bondage, if I'm not mistaken. The Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and we know what those clouds are. Those are the chariots of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. When the Lord comes back, He's going to come back in what the world will consider a cloud, but really the Bible, refers it to a swift cloud or power. Okay, these are the chariots of the vehicles of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and His angels. Okay, so we'll start to see these things happening here on the earth. All right, the invasion of one state to another state, and really, what is that called? That's civil war, right? When American state is going against itself, that's civil war, and the scriptures predicted that. It says, "And shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set Egyptians against Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother." And that's what that was going on. That was going on in the first Civil War with America. You literally have brothers fighting each other because of a difference in opinions. Okay, and the same thing's going to happen this time around. But this time around, all right, it's going to be so massive that there's going to be a lot of chaos, man. All right, a lot of people are going to die. All right, because these troops they have a job to do, regardless if they're doing it to their own people. Okay, it says, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdoms against kingdom, and the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Right? They're going to be seeking palm readers, fortune tellers to figure out if there's any way for them to get out of the situation that they're in. And they're not going to get an answer, man. All right? The council of Egypt is going to fail. All right? The Congress, the Senate, the representative, they're not going to know what to do. So ultimately, they just go ahead and say, you know what? Shh, martial law. Everything gets shut down. Okay? Let me get in the NLT. It says, the Egyptians, let me see, go back further. It says, and I will make the Egyptian fight against Egyptian or American against American, right? Because the Bible uses these powerful nations to represent America. America's a powerful nation. Egypt was a powerful nation. Okay? Rome was a powerful nation. Syria was a powerful nation. But these are all references and metaphors to modern day America, modern day Egypt. And if you don't believe America's modern day Egypt, look on the back of your dollar. I'm pretty sure you'll find a pyramid there with the all seeing eye, right? All right, this is who Esau worships, man. But all those things, all that counsel, all that wisdom and knowledge that they've gotten from the world, it's not going to help them. Only the prophets of the Lord can be able to tell you or break down what's going to happen next. Okay? So it says the Egyptians will lose heart and will confuse their plans. Salaki says the Egyptians will lose heart and I will confuse their plans. Right. And who's the I? That's the Heavenly Father. Okay? The Heavenly Father rules in the kingdom of men. You get the Father rules in the kingdom of men. So these presidents and these kingdom and these governors, they're all being told what to do. Okay? They're being influenced and inspired by the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. This is Daniel 4:17. It says, this matters by the decree of the watchers and the demand of the word of the holy ones, to the intent the living, us who are alive, may know that the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, rules in the kingdom of men, which is where? Where is the kingdom of men? Here on earth. And giveth it to whoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. Right. And who is the basis of man these days? Esau, Edom. He's always been the base man. The wicked that the Bible speaks of. Okay? Let me get another one for you. This is Proverbs 21:1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water, and he turneth it whithersoever he wills. So the people who are in leadership now are really, they're bouncing, you know what I'm saying? They're walking to the beat of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? So whatever they're trying to do is going to be to no avail. Okay, but these are the times that we're coming in. All right, and it's just going to ramp up. It's going to get worse. It's going to get more intense. People are going to feel like their rights are being violated, and they're going to feel like they have something. They're going to have to stand and do something about it. Okay, so look out for these things, man. Look out for it. Hey, shit is about to get real spicy out here. So Lord willing, this was edifying. Definitely want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachafadash. Once again, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. And to you all I say, Shalom.